Today on the show, we have Rob Pirie, a hardworking, talented coffee entrepreneur and just all around good dude. Today's topics, we dive into roasting challenges, cupping, running, business, as well as life advice. So block off your schedule, grab a cup of coffee. We dive into all these topics next on the Roasters Roundtable. Hey man, so one of the number one things I've been trying to get you on for is you have one of the most unique stories as far as startups go. So do you mind diving into a little bio as well as how your coffee endeavors started?
Yeah, well, in the beginning of the days, like, I didn't really like coffee. My mom and them, they had the Folgers and stuff like that, and once I, met my wife, she would always go to Starbucks and stuff like that, and so anyway, I tasted her coffee one day, and I was like, "Well, it ain't too bad," you know? So I started getting coffee and kinda mixing it my way, and this was back when you'd put, like, creamer, honey, top it off with a little cinnamon at the top.
Right.
It wasn't coffee by the time I got done with it.
Yeah.
And then I got back home, moved back to Louisiana, and then I don't know, I just started going down a little coffee journey. And then, year by year, I finally found some specialty coffee because the shops around here started kind of popping up. And yeah, it wasn't like a instant thing. Like one day I tasted this coffee and it
Right.
was like a gradual thing. I finally got a little quality roaster and started turning some beans. And next thing you know, I'm just creating a YouTube channel and a podcast. And then I don't know, now I'm here. So it's
Yeah,
been
man.
pretty cool.
So when you first, I've been following you for a while. So when you got that first roaster, what were some of the biggest difficulties starting out with that thing? Because I feel like most people, they either dive in feet first, they crash and burn, or they're just a natural. So can you tell me like what are some of the difficulties you dealt with starting out?
Yeah, really for me was just understanding like batch size. Like, if you go and roast 50 grams versus 200, everything changes, So
Right.
getting kind of all the basics down in the beginning and realizing that, if you're roasting a small amount of coffee, it's going to take a lot of time to roast enough to like, sell and stuff like that. So in the beginning, I guess was kind of more just roasting for friends, family, getting
Mm,
feedback and stuff like that. Kind of like, how most people start.
right.
And then, really quickly you realize like, gosh, you can't do it on a small roaster. You need something a little bit bigger if it's going to be worth your time.
For sure.
And then I got a little 2 kilogram Bedeli that I got from Bedeli. It's actually through, gosh, what's that? Alibaba.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
I went through there and got it. And it was a good machine. I've been needing to make a video because I got rid of it here recently. Had some issues with it. Bearings were going out, the igniter went out, and it's just one thing after another. But for the price, I mean, it was super cheap. Compared to a Mill City or a San Fran or any of them, it's like multiples lower than those machines. So as far as learning, cutting my teeth on a good little 2 kilogram machine, like it did its job, I think. But
Right.
I got a little SF6 now that I've been getting set up, so I haven't roasted on it really too much or anything. So yeah, it's kind of where I'm at in my little journey now. So
Well, that new machine you got's like a Lamborghini, man.
well, yeah, compared to my old stuff, but man, I honestly like I went out to, gosh, I forget his name's Robbie Roberts. I forget what his company is called in North Carolina. Um, he's like kind of one of the reps for Loring. And I went
Okay.
and checked some of those machines out, and I would love to have a Loring one day. That's kind of like my dream, Ferrari.
Right.
But
Right.
some people want a Ferrari. I would just love to have one of the, the I want one of the 15 kilogram Lorings. So
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe one day, we'll see.
So what would cause you to push up into that realm as far as like getting bigger? Like, what number would you have to reach as far as like, I would say like sales in your coffee before you upgrade like that?
I guess for me, like, um, I don't know. I definitely want to be probably in the getting close to the six figures in sales.
Right.
The problem is like what I've realized is you got to have a a good kind of runway with it, you know? So it's not so much just about having the capital to start, it's about having the capital to continue, you know? So it to me, I'm going super slow in what I'm trying to do and build. And probably to other people, they're like, geez Louise, like this dude's taking forever to, get somewhere. But it's like I'm saving up. I want to have like a good bit saved up, where I can put a lot of cash down, and eventually I'm going to have a machine shop that I rent out to this guy, and he's probably 74 now,
Okay.
so he's got about a year and a half. And once he leaves, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much liquidate everything in there, which it's a pretty good size. It's 40 by 80. It's like 16 to 20 foot tall or whatever.
Oh yeah, enough to get a
And
roaster in there. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm gonna basically convert that whole thing into like an actual roastery. So
Awesome.
kind of get out of this little place. That's my long term goal. So I'm just kind of saving up money until then, and I'm hoping to have. I would like to be able to, have a good bit saved up where I can put a lot down on what I'm about to do, but then also have at least 20 to 30,000 like cash sitting. That way I can, have operating cash. So I don't know. It's one of them things like I don't have it figured out. So it's like when people ask me, it's just like it really just depends on, you know, what your goals are and where you are financially. Like
Right.
some people they start at different places in life, You may have a really good job, or you may have, whatever, other types of investments, or, family or something like that. So
Right.
yeah.
Man, the cool thing about you is like, so people they start this journey and all they see is people that have been in the industry for so long and they're trying to follow people that are, I wouldn't say gatekeepers, but they've been doing it forever. And you put it out there in YouTube. Like when you're finding something, you're putting a video out about it. So everyone feels like, oh, this is the route that he's going and this is the information he's putting out. So that's what's awesome about your videos, man, is because like you bring people along with the journey down this coffee rabbit hole with you. And that's, I feel like that's awesome about your channel.
Yeah, and that's what I've been trying to do, but it's like it's one of them things. There's so many times like I say I'm going to do something, and then I realize like after I've said it and told everybody on YouTube, like, well, that's not going to be a smart idea because of X, Y, and Z. So
Right.
then you kind of start looking like that person who, you're just throwing out all these ideas. So I've kind of pulled back from some of that,
Okay.
and because it's I don't have it figured out. And it's like I do go up and I open, door number 10, and it's like, well, nothing behind that one. So go on to the next one. And yeah, it's kind of where I'm at with it. But one thing with my channel, what I didn't think about in the beginning was as far as like marketing goes, like I
Yeah.
created my channel around other roasters.
Right.
And so now that I'm like roasting coffee and stuff, I've kind of realized like, dang, like, you may buy my coffee once to try it, but you're not going to be a customer because you're roasting your own coffee.
Right.
So here recently, I've kind of taken a step back from YouTube and stuff because I need to. And I love YouTube. Like it's when I got my camera, and I love it. It's one of the things like I love sitting down in front of the camera and just like rolling.
Yeah, man.
But I need to figure out like a pivot on my channel because I like talking about the roasters, but I need to bring in something else. And that's the whole thing, it's like Black Rifle has their veterans, guns and whatever. And I don't know. So I've been thinking about maybe going kind of more of an athletic ultra running route, going to that type of group, and kind of posting more videos on that type of an experience. So, but I
Right.
don't know. It's one of the things like I've already gotten my little niche audience on YouTube,
Right.
and what do I do? Just take them on a different journey now,
Hey,
So
hey, you grabbed me, man. So like, and
yeah,
I'm in the same boat as you as far as like, I am huge into fitness. Like that's all I do. Like I got the ice bath, I got the salt, I got all the equipment you could think of, and then coffee on top of that. It just goes good with everything. So I feel like if you can find a blend to blend it all together, man. Roasting, your love for coffee, and fitness into one go. I think you could do that fairly easily. Like I could see you doing that. Like I don't want to, cut you off right here, but um, I feel like if you get into like roast, I wouldn't say roasting classes, but showing them like how you're creating your different type of roasts, and then start your next day video of like you going on a long run and then enjoying the cup of coffee after your run. Like it just finding a way to blend it together, man. I think you could easily do that.
The other thing is just time, man, because it's
Right.
like whenever
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not roasting, and that's the whole like resource thing. Like it's either you throw money at it, you throw time at it,
Right.
and it's one or the other. So now that I've been roasting a lot, I mean, I roast like all weekend and stuff. So it's like I wanted to get out a video, but it's like I haven't even been able to script one yet. So
Right. Right.
now it's like that's kind of been hurting my posting schedule and stuff. And it's one of them things like I haven't really had to advertise, but it's because I've done the back work on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that.
Right.
But then if I don't post, sales start to trickle. And it's like it's that, you're always chasing. You either got to make the video to start getting the sales or post to start getting sales, but then you get sales and then you got to roast and then you can't post and make videos, so
Right.
it's that
I got
vicious
you.
cycle. So it's like I wish I had a team, but then I don't have the money to buy a team. So it's like you're just in that little, you just got to figure it out.
Hey, well, anytime you just want to roll some videos right here on this podcast, we could easily sit down and make that happen.
Yeah, and that's one thing, man. I wish there was somebody like local to me that would that was, had the same goals and aspirations and stuff. But it's
Yeah,
like,
man.
I've talked to Bondi Johnson, and it's like, he's over in Florida and he's actually doing completely different stuff now, which is super cool. But it's like I wish I could find some people closer, but
Right.
I don't know. There's really nobody around my little area that wants to shoot videos and talk coffee. So
Yeah, man, and like your situation's unique too. So you're kind of more isolating yourself a little bit more by the ultra running route. So you got people that they don't know where their coffee comes from, and they don't know that specialty coffee exists, and then they're also not willing to run anything over 4 miles. So I don't think you can find it's going to be rough, man. Like you're one of a kind out there doing everything.
yeah, yeah, it's one of them. I don't know. I think a lot too is like this. In the beginning, you were kind of talking about the beginning. In the beginning, I thought things would come a lot quicker. I was
Right.
like, I'm gonna get on YouTube, and within 2 years, I'll probably have like 50,000 subscribers and whatever. But
Right.
everything's just taking a lot longer, and it's one of the things I realized. Like, I probably won't see what my definition of success in this business is probably until the 10-year mark. So that
Right.
means I got like 6 more years to go. And I'm kind of at that point where I'm good with that. I'm just gonna I like doing all this. It's not that I don't like. I was up yesterday morning at like 4:30 knocking out some roasts. And that's what I was telling my wife before I went to work. I was like, I love getting up at 4:30 and just being in there chilling, roasting coffee.
Right.
And then I
Right.
got to go to this day job. But it's just like I enjoy that. That's what I want to do. And it's like, how do you get there? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, how do I and I get paid good at my job,
Right.
but it's like, I don't want to sound ungrateful. I'm grateful to have a job, but it's like I would rather make half of what I make at my real job and just be able to roast coffee all day.
Right.
But how do you get there? That's kind of where I'm at right now. That's my struggle. Is like how do I make this big enough where I can do it full time?
So you're a contractor, right? Is that what you do?
No, I work at a pump repair company.
Okay.
Our company manufactures pumps, and we repair, pumps all down the Mississippi River for all the chemical plants like Exxon and
Okay.
Shell and stuff like that. So it's a pretty stable job because like pumps are always breaking and it's recession proof. Like, you're always needing to fix pumps. So,
Right.
but now I was a project manager for 7 years, and I just switched over to the as a financial analyst, and I'm going to try to
Okay.
move up through that route, just because that's one of those gray areas of the business I don't know.
Right. Wouldn't that
Like,
make your hours a little bit easier too? Like you're not so much trying to pull the overtime?
man, I thought so, but uh, it's been a lot, and that's kind of another thing that's kind of held me back up because I mean I was up there Sunday for 9 hours, and
Okay.
it's just like, geez Louise, I don't know if it was a good idea now. But it's one of them areas like I need to learn. It's kind of like changing a tire. Like I hate changing tires, but you kind of need to know how to change a tire. So that's how I feel with the financial analyst stuff. Like I don't know enough about finance on the business side. It's kind of the gray area. Like I can roast coffee and package and sell and market,
Right.
but I don't really know how to create budgets as well as I should and know how to categorize things in books and accounting and finance like that. So if I can get 2 years of that under my belt at a decent sized company, which I'm running 4 shops. I'm running Chicago, our shop, Coleman, and Savannah. So I'm
Okay.
getting kind of some pretty good experience with kind of managing things away and stuff too. So I don't know. It's just the way I kind of look at a job too is try to do things in your job that's going to help you build the skills that you're going to need in your business.
For sure. Yeah.
And I 100% complete. And I tell everybody at work even you should always be building a lifeboat because you never know when somebody's going to come down and say, "Hey, this shop we sold it to this other company. Monday, y'all ain't going to be here."
Right.
So always be building a lifeboat. And like this is my little lifeboat. I'm going to, constantly be just putting time into it on the side. And if it ever comes down to it where I have to make this work, I will at least be, at least have the boat halfway built. So
For sure. I think that's the biggest issue that people run into is especially if they dive into this business, is they go in full force without a safety net. Because I mean, you can see how quick it is for people to fall in love with coffee, and it's like, all right,
yeah.
it's all I want to do. I think you're doing it right, man. I feel like if you keep this and stuff starts rolling enough on the coffee side, you can kind of take a step back.
Yeah, for me, it's just that I have a more of a marathon mindset or even an ultra marathon mindset. Like
Right, right,
I'm not starting off the race running. Like we're gonna collect ourselves, and just keep moving and know that it's going to be years before I really see any benefit from anything, and I'm
for
fine with
sure.
that.
Yeah.
So,
So what does your wife think about this endeavor?
oh man, my wife and I both struggle with time right now because she's a wedding photographer
Okay.
and she's pregnant. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
she just finished up her last wedding this weekend. So it's like, she heads out Saturday to shoot a wedding. She's not coming back until midnight.
Right.
So I have the kids all day. And so you work all week, come home. I usually have the kids on Saturdays, at least during the spring and fall, because usually that's when she's shooting. And then like I don't know, it's just time. We're always like, you know, what are you doing next weekend? I need to do this or, this podcast tonight. Like, let's get supper done early. That way, I can head over here real quick. And it's like everything's just so time right now, especially with the
Right.
kids. And then, yeah, we got another one coming in August and it just adds to it. So,
Well, congratulations, man.
yeah, it's going to be good.
For sure. So now does your family, do they buy your coffee from you? Like not like I'm talking about like cousins, everybody, are they like, "Hey man, I need your coffee?"
No, the problem with my family is like, I'm kind of my most of my family works in like dirt work and stuff.
Okay.
So like they built my house pad, that my house is on and everything. And they're always doing stuff for me. So dude, I feel bad. Like my cousin lets me come over there and use his pool all the time. So it's like
Right, right.
it's like, dude, I just give them coffee. But yeah, no, as far as like friends and stuff, which I don't really sell too much in my area, which was kind of something I realized early on, and which is why I created the YouTube channel and started trying to market out because specialty coffee in Denham Springs, Louisiana, like doesn't exist. Like
Right, right.
it's community coffee is huge down here, and it's like, I mean, that's the biggest brand down here as far as coffee goes. So
Folgers at the VFW. I feel
yeah,
like that, yeah, that's big in most states.
yeah, like Folgers is big, but like down here for some reason because communities here, like I don't know, they people love their community down here, which is cool because the owner is Matt Siraj, and I didn't realize, but there was a coffee shop I was talking to, and the owner hit me up, and he's wanting to sample roast some coffee, and he said his partner was going to show up too, and I didn't really know who his partner was, so he showed up, and it was Matt Siraj, the CEO of Community Coffee,
Right.
which is they do like hundreds of thousands of pounds of coffee a
For
year.
sure.
They're
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
So it's like, and the coolest dude. I mean, just talking coffee, like different regions. He's been all over the, coffee regions and stuff like that. And it was cool to actually see that, like, even at his level, like in coffee, still just a cool dude willing to drink coffee with me and like talk coffee. And so yeah, I don't hate on community at all, because different it's a different market. But
Right, for
for a
sure.
specialty coffee, most of the coffee I sell is out of state. So I don't really sell too much here. I got a little I just made a deal with a little beignets coffee shop here in Baton Rouge. And
Mhm.
I'm in a little bookstore, a couple old things, do
Nice.
like wholesale like that. So
Yeah, like, I have a lot of people that I've passed your information on to, because, I'm pretty much deemed to the state of South Carolina, so I can't ship out of state right now at the moment. So I've been turning people to you. I don't know if they bought any recently because, yeah, I mean, the guys I work with, they let time get away from them. So,
yeah. Yeah,
yes.
I don't know, maybe, dude. Like I said, it's so crazy. Like I had James Pirie in Silicon Valley, California. It's like I didn't even know they had any Piries over there, but it had
Right,
my
right.
last name. It's like, who is this guy? But yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, so, like, what your videos that you were putting out when you were starting out, or I don't know if it was when you were starting out, but you pretty much, you gave a tutorial on how to stamp bags.
Yeah,
And I tell you what, man, I went the stamp route, and I don't know why. I got excited. I ordered my stuff, but I stopped your video halfway through and didn't get past the, "Hey, you have to let your stuff dry" phase.
yeah,
And I stopped your video, so I just wanted to let you know that I didn't finish your video until I didn't let the bags dry and smeared it all over the place, and I was like, I am ruining every coffee bag."
yeah. It's the stamping thing I regret so bad, realizing now that, for $200 I could have just got like, a stamp made, and
Right,
for a few cents more you can just get them sent to you with the Lego. Man, I wasted so many nights just stamping bags, bag after
right.
bag after bag. It's not too bad if you're stamping like a 5 pound bag or something, and
Mhm.
it's like wholesale and you're only doing like 3 of them or something. But dude, if you got like 50 bags to stamp at
It's
night
a
or
lot.
something, I mean, it's a whole nother job, you
Oh,
know?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's another thing too. Yeah, in the beginning, like time, like what can you do to minimize your time? So like if stamping bags is taking a lot of time, and a one-time payment of $200 gives you this template that they'll stamp on any bag purchase you make, like
Right.
do it. Like, I mean, save up and just get that little template made, because it saves a
Now
lot of time.
now what company is that through, that template? So I'll
You
post
can
below.
you can use just about any of them. Will do the hot stamping or whatever they call it. But I use PBFY. Oh,
Okay.
Mike Padroni, I think is his name. Cool dude. He's emails really quick. So if you have any issues or anything like that, uh, he'll respond very quickly.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll link that below. Okay, so, when you, I guess, got rolling as far as, you started pumping out more coffee, what was the biggest difficulties for you? I know balancing time and your, coffee business.
Yeah. In the beginning was really just time. It's like you have to market and post and do all that stuff. But then if you're doing that, you can't roast coffee. And then if once you do that and you get orders, it's like, well, then you're just roasting coffee and packaging and stamping bags and everything like that. And it's just you're constantly fighting that battle. The other thing too was, I mean, there was one time, I think my daughter got sick, and it's like, as a one man shop, like something happens and you can't roast coffee for 3 or 4 days. Well, no orders go out, Then like
Right.
I remember when my dad passed away, and then it was like, so you're out a few more days, but then you're feeling obligated, like whenever you really don't feel like doing anything, to like go in there and like, be getting orders out. So I'd say being a one man shop, uh, because you're having to, like, even now, like like the other morning I was sitting down and it was like, there's things I want to fix on my website. There's things I want to do in here. There's another offering of coffee I need to like pick and get out and cup. And get ordered and get the stickers made for it and everything like that. And I'm sitting there for like 10, 15 minutes, and it's like you're overwhelmed by the list of things to do. And instead of just picking one and doing it, you done wasted 15, 20 minutes like thinking what you should do first.
Right.
So I don't know. I kind of struggle with that a little bit, but um, the slow, the slow build, kind of marathon process has kind of helped that, because I'm just like, you know what, I'll get to it whenever I can get to it.
Right.
So, and that's kind of my mindset now. Like, this roaster's taking me much longer to get hooked up than I was anticipating, because I'm trying to get this, piping and stuff from Jeremiah's, and they have like a 10-day lead time on it. And, it took me 4 or 5 days to get in touch with them. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like everything takes so much longer than you have planned. So,
R-
and
right.
then with that, you got to roast, and you got to try to get your website updated, make videos, post, just do it all.
So, do you have a specific planner on how you plan your daily activities? Because it seems like you're a very busy guy. So, how do you
Yeah.
keep everything so organized?
Yeah, actually, I got it right here. I got this little thing here. I call it the plan of the week. I made a
Okay.
video, gosh, I don't know, probably about 2 years ago now, where
Okay.
um it's anyway, if anybody wants it, they can email me, and I'll send them a blank one. But yeah, basically has this week's agenda. What are the main objectives you want to achieve this week? Um, and then I have like write out my goals. I have my finances on here, like my total debt, my total assets. That way, weekly, I'm writing down like where's my 401k at, how much money do I have in the shop account, how much money do I have in savings, how much money do I have in my coffee account, where I'm at on my mortgage. That way, like every
Awesome.
week, I'm just keeping up with my stuff. And then I have like the roastery studio, what I want to do with the podcast, what I'm doing on YouTube, running fitness. And then like honestly, some weeks, some of the things are just blank. Like YouTube's been blank for a while, just because I'm focusing on kind of more the roastery and studio side. So yeah, honestly, I got like this whole thing that I kind of print out weekly, and it's definitely helped me just keep on track. Um, but it's one of them things, like it you still got to work at it. Like, just because you have
Right.
you write everything down doesn't mean it's going to get done. And that's kind of one thing, wow, that's been on there for the past 5 or 6 weeks, and let's go ahead and get it done. So
For sure. So, if you had to, I wouldn't say tell anyone. So, yeah, any tips? So, if you could give anybody tips, it's like kind of lacking in motivation. It's kind of trying to juggle a bunch of things at once, and it could be in the industry, but as well as just overall life. What kind of tips would you give for overall, I guess, staying motivated and keeping discipline through the entire process?
I think the biggest thing for, and everybody's different, so it's hard to, everybody's motivated by different things. Some people want to get into things for money, some people want to get into things for happiness.
Right.
But for me, it's like, if you can get into something that you really enjoy, that like I said, at 4:30, I'm ready to get in here and come roast and do that, and I enjoy it. I would say finding something that you enjoy, and but also finding something that, like, that's going to improve you or
Right.
make you better or help you grow. And I would I would say starting a business from the ground up is probably one of the best growth, for a man or a woman. Like, if it helps you get better at trying to speak to people,
Hmm.
trying to market, trying to, just figure everything out. Like, it really pushes you to kind of get past all these roadblocks. And I feel that's kind of like what, like ultra running or anything like that is. Like, you're going to hit those periods in the run where you feel like crap, and yeah, go ahead and walk. And then you're going to feel good again. You're going to get hydrated, start running again. And that's how I kind of feel about the business. Like, you're going to hit those periods where it sucks, like where, maybe the health department came and shut you down. And it's like, learn from it, figure out what you need to do, and just continue on. But
Right.
that continuing on is like where you grow, because it's like when you first go out and run, you can only run maybe a mile. And then eventually you're like, oh, wow, I'm up to 5. And then one day you're up to like 15 or 20. And it's like you keep pushing it because you've pushed past those little boundaries. And I think that's the biggest thing with business too, or anything in life. Just you're going to hit those periods where you can't get past because you don't have the knowledge there yet. But if you
Right.
continue to work through it and figure it out, the knowledge is going to come. And it's so easy to get online and figure things out, talk to people, in your community and stuff like that. So that'd be mine. Just keep going forward and just know that we're all in the same boat. Like
Right.
nobody's like, like just jumping ahead really quickly without going through all these same little struggles unless they're, been given a whole lot or something. So
Yeah, I think that debilitates most people. I think that it pretty much stops them in their tracks. Seeing the initial start phase, I think that that's pretty hard for people in any industry, especially this industry. You have people that really love coffee, but they're terrified to take that step and try to either start roasting or, even baristas. Someone just trying to make a name for themselves. I think a lot of people are scared to take that first step.
yeah, no, and because it's hard to stop. It's hard to start. It's like if you're working out and then you quit for a long time, it's like, man, that first day whenever you start back, you plan for it a lot. You're like, this Monday I'm going to do it. And
Right.
Monday gets there and you don't. It's like, all right, the next Monday I'm going to do it. And then like weeks go by and it's finally one Monday you decide that you're going to do it and you're back on schedule after that. And I feel that's kind of like starting a business or anything. Like you just have to start. Like, and the best thing you can do is just start with the intention that like it's going to be super long. I don't care how long it's going to take, and just slowly, just just start walking. You don't have to like start off at a run. Just slowly get into it. Get a small little roaster. Like, don't worry about being profitable in the beginning. It's like, it's really hard to be profitable in the first place. So if you have a job or anything like that, just focus on getting your name out there, selling some coffee. A lot of people will focus on the profit, I think, way too early.
Right.
Um, because dude, it's hard to be profitable. I mean, what Amazon wasn't profitable for, a whole decade.
Yeah, a
So
long time.
yeah, it's like, it's hard to be profitable. So and I don't know, that's one of them things too. Like, how big of a roaster do you have to be profitable? That's kind of up for debate too.
Right. Okay, so let's dive down this the personal rabbit hole. So I know you're getting into the ultra running, or you have been for a little while. What's your plan look like, and what is the difficulty starting that out? So let's dive into that.
As far as ultra running or
Yeah, ultra running.
um, it's dude, it's honestly one of them things where it's very simple because all it is just running.
Right, right,
And the hardest part is just committing to the time, because you really have to go out there and just, put tons of hours in. But I found that I really like to read, so I read a bunch of books on Audible. So
okay,
while I'm running long, slow runs, I'll churn through books. But usually, I found that if you can run about half the distance of the race, so if you want to do a marathon, 26 whatever miles, if you can run 13 or 14 miles without stopping, fairly easily, not like dying the next day, you can
right,
run a marathon. You could push another. You could always go double. So if you want to run 10 miles and you can run 5 now, you can run 10. You know, so for me that's kind of like a good base. But like if you're running a 100 miler or a 50 miler, like once you get up to those distances, you just need time on your feet during the week. So it's like if you're running for a 50 miler, like if you can get 50 miles a weekend,
hmm,
that should be adequate to meet a 50-mile run at one
right,
time. Same thing with a 100 miler. From what I've heard, I haven't ran a 100 miler. Hopefully in the next year or two I can kind of knock that
right,
out. But
yeah,
yeah, if you can get 100 miles during the week, you should be able to get 100 miles in
right.
one day.
So what does that training plan look like for you? Like, what's your split pretty much to stay on track?
So when I did it for my 50 miler, um, I would get up and I would run probably like 6 miles in the morning,
Okay,
and then I would run probably 8 to 10 miles at lunch. And so I would try to do that 4 or 5 days a week if possible. But then there's always work and other things like that. So I was trying to get around my 50 miles a week in for that, and that worked out. Now I completed it, but I was completely hurting after it.
Right.
I would like to do it faster and feel a lot better afterwards. But so yeah, mostly morning runs, long run on the weekend, and then just trying to find the miles in the week, lunchtime, early morning to kind of get that 50, 60 miles that you're looking for. So
Awesome. Hey, well, you guys, you heard that. So if you're into running, take notes on this video, especially if you want to do ultra running. Also, another tip: just get out there and do it. Just get out there and jog down the road, or you don't even have to jog. Just walk. Get out there and walk, because honestly, coffee business it's stressful, and you don't want to add anything on top of that by being unhealthy. So just get out there and start moving, and that's what Rob's doing here. So
heck yeah, and there's a lot of info, dude. Like if you get online, there's so much info on just anything really. I mean, if you have
right,
a question, just go research it. But I will say, like, don't get caught up in the research mode where you're just wasting time,
right.
because
That happens a
you're going
lot.
yeah, you're going to learn so much more by just doing,
Right,
um yeah, and I fall into that a lot. I'll get into research mode where I'm sitting there planning out what I'm supposed to do, and it's like, dude, you're just wasting time. Just go do it. Like,
right.
quit writing it down, just get up and go do it. I fall into that some.
So let's dive back into coffee. So I'd watched one of your videos, and it connected me with Ashley Williams out of Legacy Farms. So what is your relationship to direct trade?
I've done it a few times. My PNG right now is kind of direct trade. The guy, he's from that region, and he's trying to import their coffee in from Papua New Guinea, but it's on the
Okay,
western side of Papua New Guinea. Most of the Papua New Guinea you see is on the eastern side. But
okay,
yeah, so I've done a few. We got a guy, Mauricio. He's I think he grew up in Miami, but his parents are from Colombia, and he's rebuilding their coffee farm and stuff like that. So
okay,
he's supposed to be sending me some coffee, and it's the anaerobic fermentation type coffee. So
okay.
I'm planning to buy some from him. I kind of like dealing like that more than just buying from Royal or Cafe Imports or something like that,
Right,
because it's,
right.
I don't know, it's to me it's like with the Papua New Guinea coffee, I haven't done it yet just because of time. But the lady's farm, I'm going to do a podcast with her.
Okay,
That lives over there, and so yeah, and Mauricio, I've had him on, and it'd be just cool to, I don't know, like I eventually want to go down there, but I don't know, just again time, vacation, getting off work and stuff like that. So,
for
but
sure.
yeah,
What?
no, I think direct trade. The only problem with direct trade is you're gonna be paying for it. If like, because they're not really getting their coffee up here on a tanker ship. So you
Right,
know, I don't know. It's hard to price some of these new coffees if you're doing direct trade, because it's not going through the same channels. So that's going to be a difficulty. Like I don't know how I know who Ashley is, and I've messaged him a good bit on Facebook and stuff, and but I don't know how he gets his coffee up here. I know he has like a coffee roastery and stuff up here, I think, as
hmm.
well. But yeah. Do you know how he gets his coffee? Does he like
I
FedEx it
I
up here?
have
Or?
I have not asked him that question. I know that, I the reason I got in touch with him is because I really wanted to give back to the farmers. That was a big thing for me, just seeing how people are treated over there. So I wanted to kinda donate to him, a little bit. So I do get my coffee from him, but I did not get around to ask him a question on how he got it here pretty much or
Yeah.
transported it.
One thing I've realized too is there's a big difference between the coffee owner and how he lives, and the coffee worker and how they live.
Right.
So it's like, you can pay the farmer more, but are they going to pay the worker more?
For sure.
So that's one thing I've kind of realized too. They got a guy, Tom Hackett, works with dwellings, and basically what he does is he and it's pretty cheap. Like they can go down there. He's a contractor. He's made I guess a good bit of money on these islands and stuff down there, but he'll go into like Honduras and stuff, and he'll basically he'll collect donations, and I think once he gets like $18,000 or $19,000, he can go down there and build like a full scale little house for him. It's bedroom,
Right.
living room, bathroom, everything like up to code, electricity and stuff. And he's only building it for the coffee workers, not the coffee farmers or anything like that. And he'll make a deal with the coffee farmers that he'll go in and build two houses for two families if they can have that land or at least be deeded that land somehow and stuff like that. So it ain't like you're building a house and the coffee farmer's like, okay, well, these are mine now, I'm renting them out. They
Right.
actually go to the worker. So I don't know, it's kind of that thing too, like if you do support something, you kind of got to have some type of transparency to know
For
where
sure.
the
Yeah.
money's actually getting to. So
Right. Yeah, I feel like the lines kind of get blurred with that, especially with like in the organic realm of people trying to find like where good coffee's at and trying to do things. I feel like a lot of things get convoluted.
yeah, and that's the other thing. I like all the fair trade. Every farmer I've talked to about, the Rainforest Alliance and this, that, and the other, it's like all of them say like, it's worthless unless you're a rich farmer. If
Right.
you're one of these uh couple of excellent farmers that, just sold a harvest of coffee for $100 a pound, well, sure, get the organic, get the fair trade, get the Rainforest Alliance, but for the farmers up in Honduras that don't even have a road to their farm, everything's got to come out by a mule or a little donkey or something. It's like they don't even know what that is.
Right. So, do you get most of your beans from this, or are you going through like Sweet Maria's or something for a majority of your beans?
I actually use Coffee Bean Corral a pretty good bit just
Okay.
because they're right here in Mississippi, which is super close to me. So I
Okay.
mean, they literally, like, if I order on Monday, sometimes I almost have it on Tuesday. So I order a lot of small coffees from them, and I mean, actually, I got some here. Like, I got a Guatemala. This was actually a pretty good little pricey coffee. It was like $19 a pound green, but
Right.
I sample roasted it. I got some little Yemen mocha matari or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. I like they have a really good selection, and a lot of times I'll go only get like 2 pounds or something, and I'll just taste it, kind of see what roast levels I like, and I
Okay.
really try to just go through a lot of coffee like that. And then over that period of doing that, I'll kind of pick which ones I want to put out in an offering. Because the other thing with coffee, like, this Guatemala, I don't know if you can see it, but this little Guatemala here, like $19 a pound, nobody in my town's buying that. Because what are you marketing up
No.
to, in high 20s or something after you're roasting, getting everything packaged up? So nobody
Right.
around
That's
here is doing
pointless.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody around here is going to be buying anything like that. So, um, for me, as far as even like trying to wholesale or get it into any stores, like I can't really touch that type of coffee, but I still buy it just to kind of see, why it is priced that way, and it's bomb. It's good, but who else is going to see that value?
Right. So for your specific roast profiles, what beans do you? I know you don't want to give out your whole thing, but like what beans do you mainly stick with for your majority of your coffee?
Man, I'll switch them around. Like I said, if I find a good coffee and I can get it, somewhat at a decent price, and I'm not too worried about price. Like, I mean, $19 a pound is pretty, that's
Yeah,
that's
that's pricey.
too much for where I live. But it may be perfect if you live in New York or LA or San Diego or something like that. But same thing with Yemen. Like, if you get up into that, I'd have to get kind of smaller quantities. But um, I like a good Ethiopian. I think that's
Right.
kind of most of your people in specialty coffee. They're familiar with it.
The
I
thing
got a
I've
little.
run to with Ethiopian is like the guys around here that try it, they don't. I'm trying to get them to like it, but it's weird to them because I guess they're used to, I don't know, like I guess caramel or nutty notes, and then when they get that citrus note from Ethiopian, it just turns them off. I don't know.
Yeah, the other thing too, like with kind of your more lighter, fruity coffees, they have that acidity to it,
Right.
and I get it. Like some people, they want that traditional cup of coffee,
Right.
which
That's what I,
is
yeah.
yeah, which is why, I mean, you gotta, at least where I'm at, you kind of got to have that traditional cup of coffee. So the uh the little beignets place that I, just got my coffee in, like I brought my coffees over there and was like, here's this one's going to be the more traditional one, and I bought the Papua New Guinea, which is super fruity. It's like almost like a pineapple type taste. So it's like
Right.
anybody around here has never even tasted coffee like that.
For sure.
So we went with the Colombian, the Colombian
Okay.
kind of medium to dark or whatever type roast, and it's
Right.
like that's that traditional type of coffee around here. But I do try to even with that traditional coffee, I want to find one that has like a good little punch. So I may get 6 or 7 Colombians that I think are the best within the price range that I'm wanting to try to sell it at, and I'll cup all through those, kind of doing some different roast levels with them
Right.
until I find the one that I like, and then that's the one I'll kind of go and buy bulk and make an offering with. So
Awesome. Yeah. So I love Ethiopian coffee. But the thing is I have not had a whole lot of Papua New Guinea. And I know a lot of people. Were you on the fence about a Papua New Guinea in the beginning? Because I know a lot of
oh
people usually are on the fence about.
yeah, for like I remember when I first got into it, people was always talking about Papua New Guinea, and I never really found any that I liked until I tasted
Right.
this one on the western side. And for some
Okay.
reason, it's completely different. It even looks completely different. So I don't know
Really?
if it's a different. Yeah, I don't know if it's a,
What's the
like the
difference?
in. Yeah, it's it looks because it looks more. Um, it honestly looks more like an African bean a little bit.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of more that like dense, smaller type
Yeah.
of coffee.
Okay.
But you know how like the Indonesian coffee, it's kind of like that, almost like that uh really kind of turquoise green almost type look,
Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, and then on the Papua New Guinea on the east side, they always kind of resemble that same little appearance. But I don't know, this is just completely different, and I really enjoy it. So it's probably one of the, which when the guy sent it to me, I had no hope in this coffee. Like I roasted on the sample roaster, and I was like, let me just try it real quick, and it blew me away.
So
It really
you were
did.
saying it's a small body like the Ethiopian coffee, kinda?
Yeah, it's definitely smaller than your Indonesian type coffees. You get a Sumatra or
Okay.
something, those beans are just so huge.
Right,
So,
right.
but yeah,
Okay.
like that little African beans are, like Burundi and Tanzania. They're so small, they're so dense.
Okay.
But
Yeah, put me in touch, man. I wanna try some.
yeah, I don't know if I got him on my website or not. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Being you have me on the podcast, I'll send you some. Just shoot me your
Alright,
mailing
brother.
address, and I'll send you some.
Alright, sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to try that because, I was kinda on the fence about a Papua New Guinea coffee because, but I've heard you talk about it before, and then just now, so I wanna give that a shot.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And like I said, it's the most different Papua New Guinea I've kind of ever tasted. So, but yeah, I like Ethiopians depending on the region, like because not all Ethiopians are the same.
Right,
And
right,
but same thing with any of them. I mean, I like some of these Yemen coffees, but the quality of the coffee, like you got to pick through so much. And that's one thing too. I think a lot of people, if you don't sift through your coffee, if the roaster doesn't do it, then at least before you brew it, go through and pick out all like the stuff that shouldn't be there.
right,
Because some coffees you don't really have to. Like my Colombian coffee is pretty clean. It's a washed, and it's everything's pretty uniform. But like this little Yemen coffee I got, it's pretty expensive coffee, but there's a bunch of kind of like Quakers and beans that are just kind of didn't roast all the way and stuff like that. So, but once you take all of that out, the coffee's like on a different level. It's like
right,
this
right.
super, flowery, fruity type coffee, and I don't know. That's kind of what I'm into. I really like the different notes and the taste and stuff like that. I will drink medium to dark, but once you get into second crack and past, like I'm putting creamer in it. I'm not even gonna
Right,
lie.
right.
I'm not. I'm
It's
not
kinda
drinking dark roast without some sugar or something.
100%. It's kinda, when I see people do that, it's like, "Man, you don't have to pretend that you like that." There's no way that you're okay with drinking cigarette ashes once it gets to a certain
Which
point.
which I don't mind, like, because honestly, there's sometimes like if I got a good like that Colombian coffee, if I pull the roast a little bit longer, I don't mind putting a little creamer in there, throwing a little cinnamon on top and having like a little sweet
Right.
drink, with that
Mhm.
good dark kind of chocolatey type taste to it.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
but at that point, I'm wanting to make a different drink. I'm not trying to pull out notes and stuff like that. So same thing with espresso. If you're pouring milk and stuff into it, it kind of changes your goal up with the coffee. you know
Right.
so but yeah. I don't know. It's yeah, picking coffee is hard. That was for me one of the hardest things in the beginning, and I can tell a lot of people struggle with that because some people will send me coffee and they want me to taste it, and I don't know. I don't like that because I'm kind of that nice guy where I'm like, oh yeah, it tastes good, and it's like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
to just go and just destroy their dreams and tell them it's horrible and whatever. So I try not to even do that anymore.
Right.
Um, but yeah,
Well,
really, just if you can pick good coffee, and I think that's one of the biggest things. It doesn't so much matter about the roast or when you drop it or anything like that, but like choosing a good coffee is probably the the biggest thing to focus on because once you got a good coffee, then you can really start to find something that tastes really really well.
right, for sure. So, when you got into this specifically, trying to find good coffee, now let's dive into cupping. Was it hard for you to dial cupping in? Because I know a lot of people, they find it pretty difficult to condition their palates for specific notes. What was your journey like with cupping?
Oh, dude, they have this company here called French Truck, which there's two. I say two specialty coffee roasters in Baton Rouge. One is French Truck, and one is Rev, and I like both of them. Rev I support a good bit, and I have them kind of in a lot of my videos and stuff. I always have like Rev popping up, but uh, I went French Truck had like this, coffee tasting little thing they did on a Saturday, So they had a bunch of coffee laid out and you went through there and you cupped coffee with them. And they kind of explained the whole process. And I remember going through what I look back were probably amazing coffees, like
Right.
Ethiopians and like Kenyans and like just, all these amazing coffees on the table. And I remember getting to the end and they asked me like what I thought. And after probably 8 to 10 coffees, I just remember telling them like they all tasted the same.
Mm,
And now I look back and I think like, wow, how could I not have tasted anything different? You know?
right.
But it's you just got to do it. Like if like it's the same thing. It's like you're not going to be good the first time you do it. You're not going to be good the 50th time you do it. You're
Right.
probably going to suck when you do it on the 100th time. But it's like eventually, like after you do it a bunch and a bunch and a bunch, it it just starts to click and you start to taste different things and just month after month, year after year, honestly.
Right, that's what, one of the last guests on my podcast said, David Tatum, he said, your palate's a muscle, man.
Yeah.
You gotta train it."
Yeah. And the other thing too is like I I drink, I drink a good bit of coffee, but I'm always tasting my coffee. If I'll go and buy Rev's coffee sometime and just taste it if they got something new coming out. I taste the community coffee at work sometimes. Just grab a cup and just to help me appreciate things. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just like I got a bunch of little 2 pound bags from Coffee Bean Corral. Probably got like 25 to 30 over there, and I just taste a bunch of different types of coffee. And it's one of the things like it is a I guess it is a muscle, and the more you do it, just the more you get like this database in your head of like flavors and like how how roasts work and why there's no chafe on this roast but there is on this one versus like if it's wet or a natural coffee and stuff like that. And I don't know, you just start picking up all these little things and it all starts to kind of just make sense after a little while. Like naturals are going to taste a little bit different than washed coffees, and if you roast it this way versus this way it's going to be different. And yeah, you can start once you start connecting everything, you start kind of tasting, just pulling out those little flavor differences.
Right, I feel like that's super important, because I still have a subscription to Trade, and I try everybody's coffee. I feel like, man, you can really dial your coffee in from trying other people's coffee. You're like, "Okay, I'm trying to get my stuff to taste a little bit better," or you're just dialing it in by trying some of these, I guess, more established coffee companies.
Yeah, dude, hands down. In the beginning, like you should be cupping your coffee with the best roasters in town. Like
Right.
go buy their Ethiopian coffee, and while you're cupping, like your roast, cup their roast as well. And yeah, and that's the other thing too that kind of like I was saying, there's not too many people around here, and the ones that are around here is my schedule doesn't really align with their schedule. So I would love to cup with more people because
Right.
I think I'd be a much better taster, if I did have like other people to kind of, oh, what'd you think, and but I've never really cupped with anybody. So that's kind of one thing. I'm probably everything that I know from coffee is literally just my experience or YouTube.
Right.
But yeah, I would, dude, I would love to cup with people one day and just kind of, get an idea of what they think of it and just learn from it, because there's some amazing cuppers out there that
For
could
sure.
really, help you out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I am no professional. I'm not no Q grade or anything like that. Uh, I'm not the best taste or anything. So that's the other thing too is like what tastes good to you. It's like
Right.
what what tastes good to me is what I put out, but you may hate it. You may like what you roast. So which is
Right.
cool because it's all subjective. You know.
Right. I
So
think one of the things that I didn't expect when starting cupping was when you break crust for the first time and that aroma hits your nose, and you're like, "I did not think that an aroma would come out that quick."
yeah, and man, I think back to that first cupping we did it at French Truck that time, and it just all smelled like coffee.
Right,
And
right,
now
right.
I look back and I'm just like, and I don't know if like because your nose changes too.
Oh,
I can
yeah,
smell coffee
100%.
now and like, man, that's definitely an African continent coffee.
Right,
You can smell some coffees like whenever you're cupping and just know right off the bat if I'm going to like it or not. If you can always, there's some that you break that crust, and you're like, oh, this is dull. I shouldn't even like. Don't even waste your time cupping. This is going to be a bad coffee, and bam, it's bad. There's so much you can tell from the nose right off the bat about the coffee. So I will say that it's your nose, doesn't lie to you sometimes.
right. Alright, so we got about 5 minutes left here. So where does, where does your coffee company go from here? Like, let's give me your 10-year plan.
Oh, my 10-year plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully I've been able to quit my job by then.
Right,
But
right.
now like I don't know if I was
Now
before
is it
the
pronounced OTA or is it OTA?
OTA, OTA.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
because some people were saying OTA and I was saying OTA, and I was like, I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's Cedar Ota, which is
That's
a
okay,
Scottish
that's what I've
slang
been
for
saying.
like cedar odor. Like there's this odor, like smell, cedar smell.
Okay,
This is my grandpa's old dairy farm, and I just kind of hijacked it. So,
awesome.
but yeah, no, really just right now slow growth um until the guy over in the my shop over there until he retires. Once he retires and he's done, I'm going to pretty much get rid of everything in there. And like I said, it's pretty good size little building. I want to get it all insulated and everything, move in there. I would like to upgrade to a 15 kilogram roaster at that point
Nice.
and really just start kind of getting at least an employee or two to start off. Kind of helping package. The other thing I realized pretty early on, and even now, like I need somebody else that knows how to roast because if the emergency comes up, my wife's family, she's all from California, so if we have to go back, everything shuts down because who's going to roast for me? So
Right, right.
right now, I guess in the next 2 years, I want to kind of get like a little team built, maybe one or two people, and eventually I want to move in there. Like I said, I've been saving up for literally years at this point. I was trying to get a place here in town last year, that fell through, so I'm just been continuing to save my money now. And then, like I said, in 2 years, I like to have a good little, war chest together and see what I can do over there. So that's kind of my far as 10 years, yeah, I'd like to get to at least anywhere from 500 to, a million in sales. I don't know if it's a kind
That'd
of a
be
lofty
awesome.
dream, but ten years, I don't know. I think hopefully it's doable. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
see.
pulling for you, man. I'm pulling for
Yeah,
you big time.
we'll see. But I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy the roasting side of it. I enjoy packaging. I enjoy all portions of it. So as far as
Right,
YouTube and stuff too, like I want to grow that. Continue pushing that too. But just time. Right now is just time. If I think eventually I am going to figure out how I can incorporate somebody else. I think that's my next probably year plan is somebody else that can kind of help and just be an all around help. Like help with packaging and train them how to roast and stuff like that and getting small scale, like, working with sales and maybe going out and doing some, delivering coffees and stuff like that. So
Right. So I do a daily quick shot. So before we get off here, give two biggest pieces of advice you would have for someone starting in the roasting business in under 30 seconds. Go.
the biggest thing is to just go ahead and start. Buy a little roaster. It can be a little hive roaster. It can be a cast iron skillet. Get some beans from Sweet Maria's or Coffee Bean Corral. You can buy a 2 pound, very high quality coffee, um, and just try a bunch of coffee. Don't just get like 4 or 5 different coffees and like choose one. Go through like 20 to 50. Like try a bunch of coffee, experiment, and really just start, because that's the biggest thing. And then the second is just try a bunch of different coffee, and you will figure it out along the road. I mean, your whatever you're wanting to do is going to be different for everybody. So yeah, just start and then try a bunch of different coffee.
Awesome, Rob. Dude, it's been great having you on the podcast. It's you're just a wealth of knowledge to begin with. So anybody that wants to check Rob out, can you state your YouTube channel again? I know it's Rob Pirie, but what is the full YouTube link
Yeah,
or
it's
where they can
super
find you?
long because I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning, but it's Rob Pirie
Okay.
dash Cedar Ota Coffee. So yeah, it's super long. But and then on Instagram it's just Rob Pirie. And yeah, honestly, if you just type in Rob Pirie, Cedar Ota Coffee or coffee roasting, hopefully will pop up. But
Yep, go
yeah.
check Rob out. He has a wealth of knowledge. So pretty much you can join him on this journey with coffee and running. So make sure you get over there and check that out. All right, Rob, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it, dude.